Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Sign podcast. I'm Justin Heath.
I'm Ryan Cavanaugh, and we're going to dive into some behind-the-scenes real estate stories and some local hidden treasures.
I love it.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about agent relationships and communication.
Oh, what a painful, but
Awful.
We're both coming off some painful experiences with agent communication. And why don't you start us off with that? You've had a pretty rough one recently.
Just today.
Yeah, just today.
Had a pretty good sized settlement today. Local property sold right here in Ambler. Everything was going super smooth as could be until about 10 a.m. when I got the call from the listing agent who wasn't so friendly that there may have been a slight alteration in our settlement time.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, having flexibility on that is, I can understand, changing of schedules, but at the same time, like a small flexibility on closing day is typically pretty easy to absorb, for most of us.
I think if you take it right.
Yeah.
I think if you take it and understand that there is moving parts to real estate, to settlement transactions,
100%.
that it's not always going to go as you think it might go.
Right. Look, the way a real estate transaction is like when you're driving to a certain destination. You put in the map, you know where you're going, but sometimes there's a road closed. Sometimes there's an accident ahead. Sometimes it goes the way you planned it. It's just, there always is adaptability, and being able to adapt on the fly is what makes those agents on the flip side of this story great. Like when we're dealing with those agents that we run smooth transactions with.
Yeah. I think the thing that sticks out to me about the transaction that took place today is, one, the buyer who I represented in this transaction remained calm through the entire process, start to finish, even at the settlement table when things kind of got out of hand. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there today, so I had to have somebody stand in for me. But the buyer was fantastic. They just kind of rolled with the punches. They saw things for what they were. Right. And they were even like text communicating with me on the side saying, hey, like, we don't understand why there's
so all these tension.
Yeah, all this tension and all this hair raised on the back of her neck for something that's literally uncontrollable.
Right. Yeah. And we run into that. And it's the issue that I see a lot of the times with these issues is I feel some agents have to make mountains out of molehills for pride, ego, prove their worth of some sort, and unfortunately it can sour the experience for our buyers, our sellers, when we run into those things. And I think, I know you and I know the way we do our business, I think, is very similar. And I think we do a great job of educating our clients to the things that can go wrong, right? We jump ahead so that we can avoid the stress of those situations. We say, hey, look, this is how we plan it to go. Doesn't always go that way. But we're accustomed to adapting to changes.
1,000%. I was just going to say that. I think the notion, if you're a consumer, you've got to have the idea that things can change at a moment's notice. So you almost have to be a chameleon in the process all the way through, right? I think when people get so rigid and things build up in their mind that it has to go a certain way, it's almost jamming like a square peg into a round hole. It's not going to work.
No.
And you're just causing more problems than there needs to be. And there's so many moving parts to the transaction. You've got us as agents. You've got the seller, the buyer. You got the lender. You've got the underwriters. You've got title involved. Transaction managers. There's so many moving pieces to the process, and our job is to line it all up.
Right.
And for it to be as smooth as possible.
Right. And it couldn't be more true, right? Like a fair portion of our job is coordination, right? Yeah. Like it's coordinating everything to be smooth for the client, right? Yeah. Like that. I mean, that's my goal. My goal is to make everything as easy for the buyer or seller as possible. Like, this is a big transaction for most of our clients. These are the biggest transactions that they're have ever done. So for us to be able to make that an easy, enjoyable process is our job. You know, so obviously we have those outside forces.
We do, and
we adapt just like we're doing today. As you might notice, we are in this parking garage at our rain spot because today's weather didn't want to cooperate.
Say that again.
Cooperate with our schedule, but we're here. We're dry.
Yeah, it's a cool little spot, hidden off the map.
Can't really tell you where it is. It's undisclosed.
Yeah, can't tell you where it's at.
But we, again, that goes to the adaptation, right? We're adapting.
Yeah. So I think the big thing that stuck out for me today was how that agent chose to handle the scheduling change in front of clients at the table.
Yeah.
And I think in the end, they didn't make themselves look the best. And what was sad about that is we see a lot of that in this business, unfortunately. I think last time we talked on the first episode, we talked about how important the agent relationship is, right?
Yeah.
The communication aspect.
100%.
That was all gone today.
Oh, it's so unfortunate.
It sucks.
Yeah. And as you bring that up, we talked in the first episode how I had sent a great referral to a agent in another state, and she took care of the client great, and everything went great, and the house sold about a week ago. And there's some paperwork that I need for my end of it, and I'm waiting on it. Yeah. And it's like I asked for it, and I'm like, now I have to be the squeaky wheel, and that's fine, I can, but again, like the respect goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
Like, and when you treat those other agents with respect and professionalism and work in a timely manner, you build great relationships. And
I think the other thing too that stuck out about today was the client called me directly after selling. They weren't even out of the office yet. They were like walking down the steps, and they were just said, "Hey, listen, we knew that you couldn't be here with us today, and like we were okay with that because you'd set everything up the way that it was supposed to be set up, and you had a team behind you that was communicating with us, right? There were some moving pieces on their end that we had to take care of last minute this morning, but nothing that was causing a delay on our end. But that client took a step back and even thought, wow, like that agent is doing a massive deal in our industry. Or right now, it's tough to get into a jumbo, right? There's not a lot of jumbo buyers out there. But they were like taken aback by her presence at the table with the way that she was talking. So it just like for us in this business, it's super important to keep all that stuff outside the room.
100%.
Right? I hate when it happens this way because you have to do a lot of explaining. You got to do a lot of making up. You got to do a lot of phone follow-up. Hey, we're really sorry about what took place today. Right. Wasn't our intention for it to go this way. You know, there's somebody else sitting there that's trying to transact so that they can move on.
Right. And so often, at least I feel so often, we do get to have those enjoyable closings where, you know, even with agents that you may have not had any relationship with prior to that transaction, and at the table, you're like, hey, man, I'm excited to do the next one with you. Like, let me know what you got coming, or, you know, because you had a good, enjoyable experience. Yeah. The agent was professional, worked well together, and now you have a great resource out in the community that when the next time you're writing an offer on their property or they're writing an offer on your property, you already in your mind know, like, okay, I've worked with this guy before. This is going to be a little bit of a smooth sailing ship because I know how they operate and they know how I operate.
Yeah. I even thought today, it got me thinking after that whole thing took place, after settlement happened, buyer left, seller left. Like, man, I really didn't want to call the agent and just say, hey, thanks for the opportunity to do business with you.
Right.
Right. I was so pissed on the inside because of what happened and how it unfolded. You're getting phone calls from everyone. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to call her. I'll call her, say thank you. Hey, it was a pleasure working with you. I know we got a little bumpy down towards the end, but, you know, would love the opportunity to work with you again in the future.
Yeah.
Right to voicemail.
Right.
She hit the FU button on me, sent me straight to voicemail.
Oh, that's the worst. Like not even enough to want to have a follow-up conversation. That's awful.
For those of you who don't know what that button is, it's the voicemail button.
The voicemail button.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah. And so I left her a message. Just say, call me back when you have some time. I'd love to chat with you about what took place today. And hopefully we can do business again in the future. I want to have a good relationship with you. It's important.
And your phone still hasn't rung.
It still has not. There's been no return phone call.
Ghosted
On the first date.
Ghosted on the first date. That's a shame.
So ghosted on the first date, and so we just pick ourselves back up and kind of continue marching on with the other opportunities that we have in the pipeline.
And at the end of the day, your clients were happy.
Yeah. Super happy.
They got
the house that they wanted.
Yep.
And that's, at the end of the day, that's all that mattered to them. It just went smoothly on their end, get the keys, be able to get into that property.
And hopefully they have an umbrella to move their stuff in today because
it is friggin' downpouring right now.
It is downpouring.
So that also kind of put some other questions into my brain at the end of everything after, I had the lender call, just say thank you. Got on a 3-way call, kind of knocked that out. In this business, how important do you think it is for a consumer to interview and find the right agent?
I mean, I think it's extremely important that you as a consumer work with an agent that you feel comfortable with. I think at the end of the day, interviewing them, understanding like the business that they've done, understanding, where they do their business, and maybe some other.
Do you ever ask that question, like when you're meeting with a client?
Do I ask them?
Yeah. Do you ask them a question and say, hey, have you met with anybody else? Have you interviewed any other agents?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the biggest thing that I think, there's a lot of things that you can check off that interview box, right? You can have your interview list items. How many homes have you sold? Like, do you sell this price point? Like, those questions are great. But I think the ultimate end of the day is am I comfortable with this agent? Because do I feel like this agent is my friend? Do I feel like this agent has my best interest? Or do I feel like I am just another transaction? Because I think that is the biggest difference when you are selecting an agent is you could find a new agent that's going to do a great job for you. And they may not stack up to an agent that's been in the business as long as you or I have when you're interviewing them on numbers and houses and price points. However, that if you feel like that new agent that you're interviewing is honest and trustworthy and comfortable, that might be the better pick for you, because so much of it is relationship based that I think sometimes consumers get lost in the stats that they don't trust their gut in terms of feeling.
I would agree with you. I also think about if I'm going to represent a seller in today's market, or it doesn't matter, just in general, and I know that I'm going up against someone else.
Yeah.
Even if they've got more experience than me, they've sold more homes than I have. I'm always going in there with the mindset that I don't care if I'm first or last. I'm going in there to show them what I can do. And I'm going in there asking specific questions.
Right.
One, why are you moving?
Yeah. What is your why?
What's your why?
What's causing you to want to move right now?
Yep. What's your why? What's the goal that you're trying to achieve by the move?
Yeah.
And how does the agent that you're choosing to work with fit into helping you get there?
Couldn't agree more.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think about the way business is being conducted in today's world. I'm seeing more and more homes just kind of pop up on market, and there's no real game plan. There's cell phone photos being taken. Not everybody's using Billy Kyle for photography.
No, they're not. They definitely aren't. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
We love Billy. Producer Billy. Producer Billy, that's what we're calling him now, right?
Yeah.
Producer Billy?
Yeah, Producer Billy.
I agree. I mean, I was, we just came off of a holiday weekend, and this could tie into a number of the conversations, so I'll just spit it, but it's going to tie in here, of no game plan. Property went on the market a day before a 4th of July holiday, and then had a deadline on the Saturday night of the weekend of 4th of July. And
that does not work.
It does not work. I understand maybe you got a bunch of offers. Great. But like, you definitely limited yourself in that.
Yeah.
You abruptly shut it down when you got these offers. You didn't have the game plan in place ahead of time, and you didn't have the time ahead of the holiday to market it. I mean, I don't know about you, but a lot of people I know, including me and you, were out of town for the holiday.
1,000%. I do not want to work over 4th of July unless I absolutely have to. Yeah. Unless it's like one of those things where the client's like, hey, this is my only opportunity to get you in or to buy something. You know what I mean?
And a lot of times, I mean, 4th of July specifically is a holiday where in our market, a lot of people leave town. And so we typically don't see new inventory really around the 4th of July holiday weekend. So made this unique, obviously, going to the no game plan thing. I don't know there was a game plan because with coming to market that quickly, holiday weekend, it just felt rushed.
Yeah. And I think that's like, it's always super tricky. Like, I've got a listing coming on in Jenkintown this coming week, actually this week, and the seller was pushing for this past weekend to go on. And in my head, I'm already fighting with myself internally because at the end of the day, they're hiring us to do the job for them, right? So now we've got to convince them that this holiday weekend is not a great time for us to come on market because we're losing X amount of people to vacations down the shore or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So you've got to do convincing to come on this weekend.
100%.
Right? So it's, for me, the game plan, I'm seeing like a lot of houses come on and they're not looking like they should be looking. Yeah. So it calls into question around how, as a consumer, if I'm selling my home right now, I'm being super cautious as to who I'm interviewing.
Right. Yeah. And to your point, right, like to the game plan, like I have a client seller that I've been working with for a while. They are fine. I
think I know the one.
Yeah. They are now ready to put it into high gear, which is great. But we are still taking our time to make sure that we are doing the things necessary. Like, they had the garage doors replaced because they weren't looking that great. We had some exterior painting done because there was some areas of, needed just some upkeep. It was, so, they're taking that time. We're putting it together right. We'll get the photos done right. We'll do some video there right. And we will then present it properly instead of rushing it forward to just get it on the market.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to do it. And the other things too that stick out to me about that process is it's not just the feel of the agent that you're potentially going to work with. It's, you need to have a little bit of a track record along with it.
Yeah.
But how does that agent vouch for themselves? Right? We oftentimes will go into conversations with potential sellers, clients, whatever it might be. And the first thing that comes up is the commission topic. Like, how does it work? Are you willing to do it for X? And I'm seeing actually some less pushback on paying the commission and offering out the commission, right? Obviously, we've got to do our due diligence and educate the clients on how the commission structure works now. But if that agent is not vouching for themselves and their worth, then the likelihood that they're going to be able to vouch for you and get you the best possible deal, it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on.
Right.
It's pretty slim.
Very slim. I mean, if they can't sell themselves, they're never going to be able to sell your deal. So,
have you been challenged by that?
The commission?
Yeah.
Had conversation.
Vouching for yourself?
No, not. Maybe a tiny. I don't think it was more so vouching. I don't think it was more so vouching for myself. More so vouching for my plan. You know, like, what are you going to do? What is incorporated at? Not so much even questioning it in terms of the commission side either, right?
Yeah.
Like just like wanted more detail and more hands-on nature of the listing process. And I mean, it's easy. We have a pretty solid process that we try to stick to as much as we can. Sometimes there are outside factors that make things, you have to adapt a little bit. And once I explained and showed them our listing process, my listing process, it made them much more comfortable. And they were like, okay, great. Like, you know, the funny part of that conversation was this was a seller that was adamant on like, well, like, is our house going to be on Zillow? I was like, unless you don't want it to be, we absolutely will put it on Zillow. I said, we'll get far more reach like from our local MLS, but we'll get international reach from, or national and international, whatever, you know, worldwide from Zillow. But they were very
worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide. Prestige worldwide. Yeah. But yeah, they were very more concerned of not being on Zillow. They wanted their house on Zillow, which was interesting.
That word. It's just like we talked about this previously. I think everybody kind of defaults to them, which is, it's just crazy, right? And not to go into it, but
yeah.
I think being a part of the process of listing and selling homes effectively, obviously it's a tool that's out there that everybody has public facing availability to. But just knowing that there's a plan in place for you to maximize the asset that you have, I really think you should dive deeper with the agent that you're choosing to work with, whether it's us or somebody else out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a call over vacation from a client of mine who I've listed their house and they've bought with me. They called me to list with them and the commission thing came up.
Okay.
And not a huge sale, right? Nobody's retiring off the deal, but it's still a client of mine. You want to help them out.
Of course.
But at the same time, I kind of push back on them and say, I'm not willing to negotiate my commission. This is what it is. I'm not willing to back down on that. And the reason why is if I back down on that to you, it just sets the table in not a great way, right?
Yeah,
we're missing some utensils.
If I don't fight for myself with you, what makes you think that I'm going to fight for you?
Yeah, with somebody else,
with a buyer.
And so I got the call Sunday night, which was last night. Saturday night, and I spent an hour on the phone because they opted to go list with somebody else, and they are 31 days on market. They've gone through a price drop. The pictures are god awful. They've asked my opinion on what to do, and I'm in the precarious position where we can't interfere.
Nope.
You've got a signed listing contract. You're on MLS. You cannot interfere with somebody else's process of selling.
Nope.
So
can't.
It's just a sticky situation that it's tough to be in, and it always causes me to take a step back and look at how I'm operating my business and making sure that I've got all my T's crossed, my I's dotted, and you're on your P's and Q's, you know?
All the time. You have to be. I mean, and because if you're not on that strict regiment of keeping everything in line, that's where things fall through the crack, right? And we can't afford to have things fall through the crack on our watch because it could cost our consumer money and it could cost us money, right? And it's not fun that way, and nobody wants to be in that position
at all.
No.
So what are you seeing in the market last couple weeks around Antler?
I mean, there's definitely been a little bit more inventory.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like some, people are making some moves, and I think we're seeing that from a overall nationwide financial, socioeconomic, and just I don't know what the word I'm looking for right now is,
Yeah,
but
it's just position.
just the position that we're in right now. And I think, people I think are finally starting to realize that we may not see rates come back down to what they thought they were going to be for
Yeah.
unknown amount of time, right? We don't know. Could see some rate softening in the near future. Maybe not though. So that'll be totally dependent on a lot of outside factors. So I think sellers are finally starting to accept that, because I think the big issue that we've had was I'm locked into this 3% interest rate. I'm locked into this low interest rate. I can't sell. I can't afford to sell when they need to sell. Like, there's people that are staying in homes that don't
Way too long.
that don't work for them anymore, and they're uncomfortable, and they're so convinced that rate is everything, and they're shorting themselves because and look, the big secret is not a secret, right? If rates come down substantially, it's going to drive prices higher.
And it'll flood the market a little bit.
It is going to drive prices higher. If borrowing money becomes more affordable, it's going to drive prices higher like it did the last time.
So how do you navigate that for anybody listening to this? How do you navigate that really tough conversation to those homeowners that are in the 4,000 square foot home and there's no kids at home anymore? They've been gone for years. How do you navigate that?
From the aspect of like showing them.
Yeah. So like I'm the seller.
Yeah.
I've been in my home this is like a real live role play right here.
Real live.
I'm the seller. I've been in my home for 35 years. My kids are gone. They've got their own families. They're moved out. There's nobody around us anymore. It's just me and my wife.
Right.
We'll coddle up together in this gigantic house.
Well, first question is, why are you considering moving? Because they're out of the home? Just because of that? Are you interested in relocating closer to
this house is way too much for me to take care of.
Easy. I mean, if the house is too big for you, in that sense, you've been here 35 years. You've built an incredible amount of equity in this home. You're going to likely be, I mean, maybe you've borrowed against it over time.
I paid $400,000 for this house back in 1999.
well, that's only 26 years, but
whatever.
Yeah.
My math is off, as you can see.
So the aspect of the return that you're getting on this home, and look, if somebody's owned that home that long, they likely have no mortgage left, or they refied that little mortgage that they had back in 2020, 2021 down to a tiny mortgage, a tiny interest rate mortgage. But you obviously outline, here's the thing. So you want to downsize, right? And show you the cost of what that downsize is going to look like. Realistically speaking, somebody like yourself, a seller like yourself, you could take all the equity and probably buy cash for your downsize. So that mortgage, the interest rates of current market are not going to really be a factor for you. Even if you're not paying it fully in cash, you're going to likely be putting down a larger sum. And it's going to minimize the impact of the interest rate market.
Right.
Also, you can utilize some of that cash that you're pulling out of that sale to buy down the interest rate. You could do a 2-1 buy down or even a permanent buy down.
Yeah. So I think it's a serious topic of conversation that we, in our daily routine as realtors, we come up against this almost daily, if not weekly, right? When we're prospecting, is we come across people that are like, well, we have nowhere to go. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? The rates are too high. And so, we tell those folks, like you just said, right? There's a myriad of reasons why you might want to sell. Like, what sticks out? What's most significant to you?
And the oversized home one, I mean, that's, in my opinion, that is a trickier one, because I feel like a lot of those particular clients don't like that. Why isn't a strong why, right? Yeah. It's a big home. Now there could be argument of the argument is all right, you're in this big home. Are you tired of worrying about the maintenance? Are you tired of worrying about the cleaning? Are you tired of those things? Because that's a different story, right? Like, are you tired of spending your Saturday cleaning the yard? I would be, right? Or are you tired of paying the landscaper, right? And especially somebody at that, it sounds like at that age, we have some great 55 plus communities around that, you have no maintenance that you're worried about.
They'd probably likely own a house in another state somewhere down south.
They possibly could own
Snowbirds.
Snowbirding or
Go Birds.
own a shore house, something like that. And they maybe that's where they want to, or maybe where their kids are, right? Like that's a huge driver we get, right? My kids are all moved. I want to be closer to them so I can be close to my grandkids.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so interesting, like what's happening around here. I definitely feel like, there's more at play for buyers lately. I mean, I'm looking at inventory specifically in Horsham. Like there's 17 properties on market right now, and they're not all new construction for once.
Right.
Which is a great sign.
Right.
That maybe the market's starting to become a little bit more balanced. Now we're still talking about high affordability levels, right?
Yeah.
We're still talking about pricing's kind of high right now. Not really seeing a dip.
No, I don't.
It makes it tough for buyers still.
I think the only dip we're really seeing is the properties that just came on too high to begin with.
Yeah.
I think that's still a struggle that, I know you and I face on a daily basis in conversations, because selling consumers have an idea in their mind wherever they get that idea from. They saw their neighbor's house sell 5 years ago or 3 years ago, and they're so they assume that appreciation has equaled another number. And look,
or the seller that says, hey, I've updated my house. Everything is brand new, but brand new is like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, but that remodel was done in 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's always a good one. I redid everything here 15 years ago.
Right.
Oh, when was that? Oh, 15 years ago. Oh, great.
Yep.
I mean, look, it's better than it was, but it's not the modern update that is going to drive your value.
Yeah. Do you think, summertime right now is always a little bit of like a precarious time to, buy, sell. People are always wondering, hey, is now the time? Do I jump in? Do I list the house right now?
Well, that's a great question that I love, because I think the answer doesn't depend on the season, doesn't depend on the month, doesn't depend on the day, the week, the year. It is always the right time if it's your right time, right? It's
some wizardry there.
Right. You are the only one that knows if it's the right time. As a consumer, you are the only one. Yes, it's always going to be the right time, because if you need to move, then it's the right time, right? Are there smidgens of maybe it's not the right time? I don't see it as much anymore. I feel like post-COVID, some of
this evaporated that idea.
I think evaporated the seasonality of, historically it was like spring was just feeding frenzy, and like everybody wanted to sell in the spring and everybody wanted to buy in the spring, right? And that was Bible.
Yeah.
The epidemic of COVID kind of erased that. So now it doesn't matter. Serious buyers are answering the question that you asked and they're getting the answers. Is it the right time for you? And they're like, well, yeah, like my lease is up in 2 months and I don't want to renew it, and I'd like to buy my first house, or, whatever their why is. If it's telling them that now's the right time, it's great, because that's the best answer. Like we could always give them the answer of like, hey, your Horsham home might not be the best time because there's 25 homes on the market similar to yours, or yeah, it is a great time because there's nothing on the market similar to yours.
I have a little nugget. This is
your wizardry?
My wizardry. My little nugget when I'm meeting with sellers is they ask me, well, we always traditionally thought that the best time to sell was in the spring or right around summertime. I've reshaped that question to say when there's no other house around you for sale.
Yeah.
Because there's no competition.
Right.
Right? You don't have a buyer leaving your property and going 5 houses down saying, hey, there's another comparable up on market and it's nicer and it's priced under what we're priced at potentially, right?
Yep.
So I would say if you're listening to this and you're thinking about selling your house,
call us first.
Number one, the first thing you do is call us. You'll get a 2-for-1 special.
That's right.
The second thing is we always look at the market around you to see how many homes are for sale, if any at all, whether they're active, they've taken price drops, pendings and closed, right? We even look at withdrawals because there could be any reason why a home was on market
and didn't sell.
So we're looking at that as well.
Yeah, I mean the aspect of competition plays a huge part, right? If you're in a defined neighborhood, let's say, like your neighborhood or my neighborhood, and if I'm going to sell and there's nothing else on the market in my neighborhood, that is, in my opinion, the time to get it up. Or the other best time is if another.
What did you just say?
What?
Did you say that is the time to get it up?
Get it up on the market.
Oh, got it.
Get it up on the market. Get your head out of the gutter, Justin.
I told you were getting the unfiltered.
This is behind the sign. When you have that no competition in your especially in a neighborhood like a small pocket neighborhood, like that is a good thing. Also, and if that accompanies with the fact that you've had a neighbor that has recently sold at a great value that you're happy with, like, and you know anything about it, and we know anything about it, if there's been multiple offers and stuff like that, those are good things. If you've had a few neighbors that tried to sell and couldn't, that could be an indication it might not be the right time, but it could not be. They could have been cell phone photos and no Billy Kyle photos, you know?
Yeah. Have you ever thought about what like the perfect home for you as terms of an agent would be like to sell? Do you have your idea? Man, I wish I could sell this style of house.
Not a style, but I mean, single family home.
Right.
On a 3/4 to acre and a quarter lot, recently remodeled, and either still furnished in a good manner or staged, right? Or we stage it, because I mean, those houses right around us are commanding top dollar. And also, like, the other factor of that is I love houses that I know I can photograph well, that we can get great shots in, that we can get great drone photos or photos and video of the grounds and the yard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, single family. You must have something in mind that bringing that up like that.
I do. I don't think I've sold in 7 years, 200 plus deals. I don't know if I've sold a house with an in-ground pool.
I have.
Actually, I checked that.
I have.
It was kind of like a small pool. I don't know if you can count it, but
Yes.
it was in Horsham.
But that was a cool small pool.
It was a
dude.
cool small pool.
Yeah. I remember coming to see
Caldwell,
you.
Horsham Valley Estates.
I remember coming to see you on that.
Yeah.
And
one of my favorite neighborhoods in all of Horsham.
it was a great neighborhood. And the pool was so cool. It was like 10 by 17.
Not even. I think it was smaller than that.
Maybe it was
like
8
a
by
perfect
15 or
square.
something.
Yeah.
It was a rectangle.
Yeah.
It was a rectangle. it wasn't square, but
Is that geometry?
geometry.
Yeah.
It was a rectangle, but it was very cool. And they utilized
The space well.
the yard space well there, because those lots are not massive for the home sizes.
Right.
And so they got creative, and it worked out really well. We'll have to drop in a photo of that so people can. We've got to have a photo.
I've got photos of it.
Yeah, we'll have to drop in one and see if we can.
Yeah, I think having sold a house like that, but wanting to sell something that's got like a massive pool in the backyard that you can showcase, like that'd probably be my favorite thing.
Well,
But,
the one I'm working on has a tennis court.
perfect.
We could play some pickleball.
We could tennis court, pickleball.
Yeah.
Last question before we wrap up this episode. If you do anything other than real estate, switching careers, what would it be?
Oh gosh, I don't know. You go first. You go first, because
Mine's a slam dunk.
is it?
Yeah, you just said it. I'd give up real estate to be full-time pickleball player. 100%.
Interesting.
I'd use real estate as the vehicle to help me become like a 6-0 player on the PPA tour.
I love
I'm
that.
like at 4-0, 4-5 right now.
I love that. Yeah, that's why I don't play with Justin, because I'm like, I don't even think I'm ranked on a number, because I'm just a casual weekender. Actually, Tuesday and Thursday
a
nights.
booster and then a player.
Tuesday and Thursday nights too. I'll have to bring you out, but you'll have to like tone down the floor.
Yeah.
The floor. You'll play down to our level.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. I would probably. I mean, my days of. I think I've outdone my days of age, but I would loved in another life. I would have wished I never gave up on baseball at the age that I gave up. And
America's pastime right there.
And it's like every day I'm like, man, baseball is such a great sport and it's just so cool. So like I would do something in baseball if I gave it up.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love baseball too.
Love baseball.
This has been another episode of Behind the Sign podcast. I'm Justin.
I'm Ryan.
Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.